Hi everyone, it's your Ward 5 Alderwoman, and I am back with our first responder series, and we're going to be chatting about what does a pre-hospital healthcare provider do. But before I start, I have to introduce the one and only CEO, Greg Chance with Medics First. Thank you, Greg, for coming and joining me for our first episode.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much, and I appreciate the ability to be introduced to Springfield.
No problem. So we'll start with our first question. What does the day typically look like for you and our EMS responders?
Well, the day begins when our crews arrive for duty in the morning, and the first thing they will do is check out their trucks and make sure their ambulance is fully stocked and ready for the day, and then they will deploy out into the community. We typically do not respond from our headquarters to 911 calls. We typically post out in the city. We review data on a routine basis to determine where we should be located, so we're in the close proximity to that next 911 call that drops. So you will see our vehicles parked periodically throughout the community, and we're not just taking a nap. We're actually posting, waiting for that next call.
That's good to know. Moving into our next question, this is a very important question too. So when I call 911, how do you know who they're sending out? And the reason I ask that is because I feel like there's a little bit of misconception of the call goes directly to you or directly to the fire department or directly to the police department. So can you explain that process?
Sure, because there are 3 ambulance providers here in the city of Springfield, but when you dial 911 because of a medical emergency, you'll get asked a few questions. As soon as that 911 dispatcher understands that there's a medical emergency occurring at that residence or at that location, they will ask for an ambulance to be dispatched. They have a tremendous system there at Sangamon County 911 call center. It's a big map, and through technology, which is basically they can see every active ambulance on that map. So they can determine which ambulance, no matter which ambulance it is, whether it's Medics First or one of our friends from other providers, and they will dispatch that particular ambulance because it's in close proximity to where the emergency is occurring.
That is great clarification too, to know and being more knowledgeable of just how the process works. And we are getting into our final question. And this is a good question too as well. What can I expect when you arrive to care for me or my loved one? And also provide a few tips to the public about what they should be doing too while they're waiting on Medics First to arrive.
Well, once you make that call to 911, they may want to keep you on the line because there may be additional questions they want to ask so they can relay information to the ambulance crew while it's en route. Otherwise, you obviously want to provide care and comfort the best you can to the patient. But if you have other people available, you want to clear space around the patient so once the ambulance crew arrives, they have room to work and provide clinical interventions for that patient, as well as provide access to the property. Parking can be tight on certain streets, so if you have time and you can move vehicles so the ambulance can get as close as possible to where we can get to the patient's side as quickly as possible, and when we're ready to depart, we don't have any obstructions as we move the patient via stretcher to our ambulance.
Okay, and then my follow-up is, can I also ride in the ambulance with my loved one to the hospital with you all?
Typically, we think that's a bad idea because there's tight space in the back of the ambulances, and we're still providing clinical interventions while we're transporting that patient. So we need that room to work. We need that room to access equipment. So we typically recommend that loved ones follow us in a safe manner. Now,
It's probably the one time that they get to run through a red light.
Right. We're always advised, follow us, but in a safe manner and follow all appropriate traffic laws. But we're going to communicate with the family or loved ones before we depart where we're going and where to find us once they get to the hospital.
Well, thank you, and that's a wrap. But before we leave, I just have to take a moment to brag about Medics First. There's no secret, I am a board member of Medics First, but since I have become the Ward 5 Alderwoman and been in close contact with Greg, we have a brand new facility located here at 200 North Grand Avenue, and it's been open for the public to come and take tours to. We will make sure we provide the information to you, but what I like most about Medics First is you guys have been so proactive in the community. We have Juneteenth coming up, and Greg, anytime I call on him, they're right there. They're providing standby the whole entire weekend. They're also teaching kids and parents and grandparents parents and family members, neighbors and friends, CPR that you can learn how to do while out on site. And Greg, I just think that that's really showing what community is by you all participating and not just providing a service. You all are actually connecting with people.
Well, we appreciate that. That's obviously part of our mission, being the only non-for-profit ambulance provider here in town. We respect and realize what that means in terms of giving back. So we appreciate your leadership and your help in helping us give back to the community.
Thank you, and we will see you for episode number 2 soon. Take care.